All right, I'm back. I'm back like I promised, man. Cheers to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. All things wonderful, beautiful women, tickle bitties, big booties, and all that. Aliens, life, prosperity, and all endeavors to whoop alien butt if the occasion occurs. Hopefully it doesn't. Stay strong, live free, and stay black. All right. I got some sake in my cup. I'm not drunk. First sip of the day. Cheers, boys. I told you I would give you a little bit of information of back in the day, 2017. It seems so far away. So far away. This mysterious space visitor. Okay? I don't even know how to say this, but it's Oumuamua. 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 Maybe that's some type of maybe Samoan or something, man. It sounds like some of them Laotian. Oh, it's Hawaiian for scout. Ooh, I was right. Check that out. So it's Hawaiian for scout or messenger from afar, arriving fast. It's crazy, man. So destination, it happened in January 2017. First interstellar object ever observed. So the first interstellar object, that means an object that entered our solar system from outside of the solar system. Of course, I'm having a sort of a list for a speech impediment thing going. Give me 1 second. Let me get a hit of this. Get a hit of this sake. This is the doctor ordered. Okay. It was discovered in October 19, 2017. What made it so unusual? Interstellar origin. First confirmed interstellar object came from outside our solar system. That's what interstellar means. If you didn't know. It was moving too fast to be gravitationally bound to the sun. The sun has a gravitational pull. It was moving too fast. It exceeded the speed of which gravity of the sun would have pulled it to it. Accelerated way too fast. It was a strange shape, okay? Estimated to be 800 meters long and only about 80 meters wide. Literally the shape of a spacecraft. If I was to make a spacecraft, I would make it longer than it is wide. And I'm just saying, okay? That's about a 1-to-10 ratio, like a cigar, a pancake, or a needle. Like a needle flying through space. Scientists couldn't get a clear image. They estimated shape based on light variation. It tumbled, causing brightness to change. The unique thing, just like I said in my last video, is that it had an unexpected acceleration. Unexpected acceleration. After passing the sun, Oumuamua sped up slightly, not gravitational acceleration. Why did it speed up? It was going away from the sun and it sped up. Come on, people. The math isn't mathing. I mean, that math actually is mathing. It accelerated. Doesn't make sense. All right. No visible outgassing like comets do. Comets normally have a tail. It's ice burning up. Something, material burning up as it's traveling through space. It didn't have a tail, which baffled scientists. That led to speculation. If it's not a comet and it's speeding up, why? Odd trajectory. Its orbit is hyperbolic, meaning it's just passing through. Entered from the direction of Vega in the Lyra constellation. You want to know what that looks like? I don't know if we can pull it up. I don't know if Google even has that information. but it entered from the direction of Vega constellation. Lyra and Vega. What? The brightest star. The heart. Can we get some images or something? Lyra. Constellation Lyra. Is any of this helpful? I don't know. Lyra. Here you go, Vega. Lyra is here. Honestly, this is outside of my realm of expertise. Honestly, I don't understand any of it. It's a little bit too advanced for me. We're okay, here we go. Wait. Can I get this image blown up, bro? Open image in new tab. Please. Dismiss. Okay. So here's the constellations. We got Sagittarius, or no, that's not Sagittarius. That's Sagitta. I don't even know any of these. Hercules, we know him. We know Corona, that was a virus. We know, I don't know about that one, but this is, what are these? Serpents. Is this Roman or Greek mythology? I'm not totally sure, but here's the Milky Way. And it came from this region of the Milky Way. I don't know, maybe look at the sky next time you have no light pollution. Kind of figure it out. But it came from here. That's crazy. Okay. So it passed through our solar system and it exited towards Pegasus constellation. What was it? What was it? We don't know. So mainstream theories. A metal poor rocky object like an asteroid. A fragment of a planet or comet ejected from another star system. Possibly made of solid hydrogen or nitrogen ice, which could sublimate or evaporate without visible gas tails. Alternative theories. Alien spacecraft. Yeah, alien spacecraft, man. Come on. What we talking about? Harvard professor suggested it could be a lightsail powered by starlight. A relic of ancient technology or a probe sent intentionally. Most scientists consider the alien theory unlikely but not impossible. Back in the day, scientists said the Earth was flat. They persecuted the guy who said the Earth was round. I think they ended up hanging the first dude that said the Earth was round. The when, where, and how entered the solar system around September 2017. Closest to Earth, October 14, 2017. About 24 miles or a million kilometers away. I'm sorry. Closest to the sun, September 9th, 2017. Exited solar system, moving away by early 2018. It's not far beyond reach. Fun fact. However you say that shit. Tumbled end over end every 7.3 hours. I mean, the object was already leaving the solar system by the time we noticed it. Weird. It was only visible for about 11 days before it got too dim. Okay. So here's some images of it, man. We got some images, man. Well, some of these are real images, I think. No, some of these are like kind of like NASA kind of made it, like a rendition. Excuse me. No way for us to, is this a real image? Yeah. But it was tumbling through space, man. James Webb, but why did it accelerate as it was leaving or as it was heading away from the sun? That doesn't make sense. Weird. Okay, here's a TED Talk about it. We don't really know. Maybe she's gonna be like, yeah, it was just a rock. Cool. But she is astrobiologist Karen Meach. Got the call every astronomer awaits for. NASA has spotted the very first visitor from outside of our solar system. Excuse me. It's a little stuffy.
Green light. every night.
Night.
NASA's always on the lookout for possible asteroid collision hazards. So the Pan-STARRS telescope is scanning the sky every night. Each morning, candidate objects are examined by Pan-STARRS staff and usually discovered to be no big deal. But on October 19th, 2017, Pan-STARRS spotted an object moving rapidly between the stars.
Blew up or something in its home solar system. All right, cool, whatever. But
the Joe Rogan
it's talking Joe.
The Joe Rogan experience.
You came on my radar when you were discussing Oumuamua. Is that what I said?
That's the right.
Oumuamua, which is an object that we detected in space that you believe could possibly have been extraterrestrial in origin, meaning from some sort of a civilization.
Right.
Yeah. Why did you? Please explain to people what Oumuamua is, why it's so extraordinary, and why you think it's possible that it came from some other intelligent civilization.
Right. So I'm a scientist, and I basically follow the evidence, just like Sherlock Holmes.
That's the important. All you need to do is follow the facts. That's it. We don't need anything other than that. We just need the facts. The facts, what's on paper, the truth. That's it. The bottom line of application. Don't inflate anything.
Find solutions. It's a detective story. You have some anomalies, some things that don't quite match what you expected, and you're trying to find an explanation. And the thing about Oumuamua is that it was discovered on October 19, 2017, a little more than 3 years ago. And it was the very first object that visited our vicinity in the solar system from outside the solar system. It moved too fast to be bound to the sun. Very first object that we have found coming to us from
Right, yeah, it didn't actually... The sun had no play on it. The sun didn't even care. The sun, it didn't even care about the sun's whether or not its gravitational pull, because it accelerated well past the speed of which the sun's gravity could even pull it towards it. And then it accelerated even faster away from the gravitational pull of the sun. And it was like, yes, it was moving erratic. So that would be like, how could something like, if it was turning over at a rate of, it turned over every 7.3 hours. It tumbled through space at about 7.3 hours rotation. It didn't act on the sun at all. To me, that would tell me that, man, that's probably alien in nature. I think that's intelligence, something, because it's defying the laws of physics and gravity. We don't care about gravity. Like, what?
Stellar space from other places. And at first, astronomers said, oh yeah, it's probably just like the objects we had in our solar system, all the rocks that we have seen before. We've seen comets and asteroids. So a comet is a rock that is covered with ice, water ice. So when it gets close to the sun, the surface gets warmed up and the ice turns into vapor, gas. And you see this beautiful cometary tail behind it. That's what a comet is. An asteroid is just rock without much ice on it. Actually, the first person to explain what comets are was at Harvard, the university that I am affiliated with. And the story goes that, it was Fred Whipple, that he went to Harvard Square and saw all the slush during a winter day, and came up with the idea that it's just icy rock or icy rocks or, rocky ice.
Exactly. So the tail is essentially ice and rock, and it could even be water vapor burning off the back of it. But this thing didn't have a tail. Maybe it didn't have a tail because it was rotating at 7.3 rotations per hour. So, how could it have a tail if it's rotating like that? I guess it could still have a tail, technically.
And that's what comet is. And the comets come to us from the periphery of the solar system. And, astronomers said, okay, other stars may have them as well, and ripped apart from their host star. And some of them will fly in our direction. We will see them. So they said, Oumuamua is probably a comet. The only problem is there wasn't any cometary tail.
Right.
So you look for a duck, but it doesn't look like a duck, so then...
Right. If it quack like a duck, if it walk like a duck, if it look like a duck, because it got a beak. It's normally a duck, but this thing didn't have a tail. It looked like a cigar. It's moving all extra fast and stuff. It's coming out of nowhere.
Question is, what is it? And so people said, okay, it's just a rock without any ice on it. Then the problem was that it exhibited an extra push away from the sun. And usually you get it from the rocket effect, that when you make the cometary tail, it pushes the object in the opposite direction, just like a jet plane. A jet plane works by throwing gas out, and that's pushing you forward. So a comet,
especially in the vacuum of space. The vacuum of space, yeah, there's no resistance, but it would be something would have to be emitted out of it to make it accelerate. That's just fucking no shit. Like, that's just how things work. Like planes, pick one.
has an extra push when it evaporates. But there was no cometary tail, so why did it show an extra push? That was the key question in my mind, at which point I started thinking, maybe it's not a comet and not an asteroid, something else, you know? And the other strange thing about it, it changes its brightness by a factor of 10 or more. And the brightness of the object, the light that we see, is simply reflected sunlight. So just think about it, think about a piece of paper, razor thin piece of paper, tumbling in the wind, and changing the area that we can see, the projected area of that piece of paper, by a factor of 10 as we look at it. That's exactly what we inferred from this object spinning around every 8 hours, but changing its brightness by a factor of 10, meaning that the area projected on the sky that we see, that reflects sunlight, changed by a factor of 10. So that means it has an extreme geometry, most likely flat, if you try to interpret the light that it reflected over as it was tumbling around. And so a flat object about the size of a football field that has an extra push.
Extra push, huh?
If it were a comet, it needed to lose about 1/10 of its weight. So a lot of evaporation. You can't just say, oh, it's a little bit of evaporation and therefore that's why we don't see it. It should have lost 1/10 of its weight. You know, if we go on a diet and lose 1/10 of our weight, that's a big chunk of mass, right? So this object didn't lose that because we didn't see it. And the Space Telescope looked very deeply behind it to see if there are any traces of dust or gas. Didn't see anything. So then, you know, just like Sherlock Holmes, I was...
Man, you hear that? That's another layer. That's another thing to think about. That's another element. That's something that's particularly unique about this, that shows and indicates that clearly, man, see, man, we all know aliens is real, man. I showed you in the last video the size of us compared to a black hole and the other stars in the galaxy, and just to give you perspective that there's no way mathematically it's impossible for us to be not alone. Yeah, I think our governments are sort of keeping us ignorant, keeping us just, come on, man. The way we treat each other, the way we think about things, we need to just reframe, we need to reshift. Come on, people, think, please. Wake up.
Trying to think together with a postdoc of mine, Shmuel Bialy, what could explain it, and the only thing that came to mind is reflecting sunlight. So the object itself is being pushed by the sunlight reflecting off its surface. And you know, that would agree with everything we know about the object, but in order for it to work, the object needs to be very thin, like a sail, you know, the sail on a boat. So a sail is pushed by a wind, but you can also push an object, a thin object, by light, and that is called the lightsail. And we're...
Yeah. So they think a light sail was attached to this thing. That's why it accelerated. But it's so thin that you can't even see it with our current technology. So I mean, that's kind of what we're rocking with. You know, this is what we got, and we kind of know it is what it is.
The Joe.
We detect some fast-moving thing in the solar system with hyperbolic speeds headed towards Earth, and then it rapidly begins to slow down. Oumuamua is the first visitor from interstellar space that we have ever confirmed moves through our solar system. So, because its orbit its trajectory around the sun was not, quote, following Newton's laws, that meant something was affecting its trajectory. And some hypothesized maybe
Yeah. Newton's laws, they're flawless, man. These laws are everlasting. There's other things that can play on these laws, but the laws are the laws. You can't work without, you got to work within the laws. You get the point.
intelligent craft. If there's not actual aliens on it, maybe they're active navigational tools on it.
There's active navigational tools on it. They're acting remotely, whether they're remote or they're controlling it at a remote location, or they're actively on the spacecraft. This is confirmed. This is just one piece of evidence to confirm that there's aliens. Thank you for joining me. Sorry this was long-winded. I mean, I think you get the point. You understand. I think the sake is starting to kick in. Yeah, I got a cotton mouth. Can't feel my face. This is that strong stuff from Okinawa. Nihonjin sake it is. This was quick and easy. I just want to go over this 2017 piece of space thing that flew through and that you may not have been aware of. Maybe you were too busy. Maybe you were doing this and that. Maybe you were, smoking crack or doing some meth or whatever you were doing. So, thank you for tuning in. See you in the next Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness.